from Action Coach in Wakefield. Really looking forward to speaking with you today. Just want to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So the first thing is we are going to be covering something that's going to help everybody today, and this is a concept really to help us deal with overwhelm and helping us identify where we should invest our time, energy and money, but particularly our time and energy at this present time. So if you can add me any comments in around hashtag live if you're watching live, or hashtag replay if you're watching on replay, and pass on the details about where you are and what you're doing at the moment, that would be great. In yesterday's live, I talked a bit about the economic spring that's going to follow the economic impact of the coronavirus situation and the importance of identifying where we want to come out of this situation. And that's what the workshop that we're doing on Friday is all about, which you should be able to find a link to within our comments. What has come about today is I had a conversation with one of my clients this morning, and one of the things they raised was that they were struggling with the amount of different things that are going on in their world at the minute, because they've got a mixture of childcare, responsibility for their business, lots and lots of different things they could be doing in the business, as well as a desire to invest some of this time in training and improvement. So it really made me think about what's going on. And actually, this diagram is a pretty good example. So hopefully you can all see this on the camera. But it's a pretty good example of what overwhelm looks like. And it's a wine bottle lying on its side. Okay, and what's going on in our thoughts and minds at all points in time is lots and lots of different thoughts and ideas, which are represented by the arrow on that picture. Okay, and they're all trying to get through the part of our brain that can actually process what are we going to do with that, and then our capacity to actually do the actions. Okay, which is where it narrows down into the neck of the bottle. And if we're feeling overwhelmed, what happens is we create a traffic jam. We can't actually process all of that, and so we don't really manage to move forwards with anything because we're struggling with prioritising and deciding which thing to do first. So what I wanted to do today was talk to you about some potential solutions for that. And I've got a couple of different ideas for you that might help. So the first one of those is around understanding what's in our circle of control and circle of influence. So what are the things that we can actually do something about versus what's everything else that we're worrying about as time goes on. Okay, so that might be we spend lots of time on social media, we start worrying about PPE in the NHS, we start worrying about whether we're going to catch a coronavirus, whether our friends and family are doing what they should be doing to self-isolate. But ultimately, we can't change any of that. Okay, so what we want to think about is what can we control? What are you in control of, or what can you directly influence, and what can you do with that? So if you've got a pen and a piece of paper in front of you, you can write down the notes about what I'm going to suggest you do next. Okay, there's a few different exercises in here and some things to do, but the first one is to write down everything that you've got going on in your head. So what is it that you're worrying about? What are you thinking you need to get done? What are you in the middle of doing? What do you need to remember to do? What's on the shopping list for next week? All those sorts of things. Just get them out onto a piece of paper. Okay, and then what I want you to do is to sort them into two piles. One that says, these are things I can do something about. I can directly influence and control these. And one that's all about, I can't do anything with these ones. Okay, now the things you can't do anything about, and this requires discipline, but stop thinking about them. Just stop it. Okay, think about what you can actually control and do something with those ones. The ones we can't control, then what is the point in you investing time, energy and emotion into those ones? Okay, so what we want to do is put them on the list and acknowledge that these are things that we could sit here and worry about, but actually let's try and limit our exposure to those. So let's think about how much time are we spending on social media? How much time are we spending watching the news? How much time are we spending doing things that drive us to think about the things we can't control? Okay, and for those things, let's put them on the list and park them until they become within your sphere of influence. Okay, now what we want to do is take the things that you've said, I am in control of this, I can do something about these ones, or I can influence people around it. And we want to identify what the goals are. Where do you want to be? So when we come out of lockdown, where do you want to be with that? Okay, what do you want to be doing? And what would be great is if you can put hashtag in the comments, put your goals in there. What is it that you are focused on? Okay, it would be great to see what sorts of things people have set as their goals at this point in time. But for each one, we want to define what is the outcome going to be? Where do we want to come out of lockdown? Okay, and then for each of those, we want to define what actions can we do. So what can you do today, and what can you do this week that's going to make a difference? And then next week, you're going to get your goals list out again, and write down what are the things you can do today and what are the things you can do at different points during the week to help you with that. Okay, so if you're struggling with the fact that you've got far too many goals in that list of things that you can actually impact, so like the client I was speaking to this morning, some of them are things he needs to park, some of them are there's just with that is then to think about how are we going to prioritize those. So what I want you to do is take each of those goals, and if you've got more than 5, then it's definitely worth doing this exercise, and give them a score between 1 and 10. Okay, so 10 is, this is really important, this is the most important thing I can do to help me get out of lockdown in a great place. Okay, so what you want to do is put a 10 next to that. If something's not particularly important, then give it a much lower number. Okay, the only rule with this is that everything has to have a unique number so that at the end you can sort them into order. Okay, and what we're going to do is take the top 3 of those, so the ones you gave the highest numbers to, and then look at what 2 actions can you get done that are going to contribute to moving you forwards to achieve that goal. Okay, and when you've completed that goal, if you've still got more time and we're still in lockdown, you can go back and look at what other goals you'd set and then reprioritize again. But in the short term, we want to focus in on a few goals and track those through and move forward so we achieve action. The other thing you might have going on at the minute is you might be sitting there with not enough goals. So you might actually be going, well, normally my goals come from work, but I've been furloughed. I'm not working at the minute. So if you're sitting in that camp, then what we need to do is think about, well, what can you do? How can you give yourself a sense of achievement and some things you want to do? So you might want to think about, what are all those things you've always said you'd do if you had more time? If I had more time, I'd take out this hobby. If I had more time, I'd do more exercise. Or I've always wanted to read that book. Or I've always wanted to learn how to do this thing. So work out what those things are that actually, historically, you've gone, I'm too busy, I can't do those. And try to crack into, well, okay, let's see whether we can achieve some of those during lockdown. You might want to think about the different areas of your life that you could set goals for. So that might be about your family. What do you want to do with your family? It could be about your business. So what are you trying to achieve in the business between now and the end of lockdown? It might be around your health, so diet and exercise. I know plenty of clients where actually they're doing far more home cooking than they would do normally because we're at home more. So for example, that's impacting on health and well-being. It could be about mental well-being. So what do you want to achieve? And set some goals for that. Because what we know is that as human beings, we work better when we've got goals to achieve. Goals give us a sense of clarity and purpose. And they also help us to gain movement and momentum towards achieving them. Just by writing down what the goal is, we start to see movement and momentum. And ultimately, they help us shape the person we're going to become. Who we're going to be able to achieve those goals is really important. Okay, so it'd be really great to hear about some of the goals that you've set. So you can put a note in the comments box for me around some goals you've set coming out of this, what you want to achieve this week or what you want to achieve by the end of lockdown. The idea of this is to help you. As you know, we're doing quite a lot of free events. So we've got the workshop that is on Friday, which is all to do with creating your own economic spring. So if you're a business owner or director and need some support around where do you go next, that's going to be a great opportunity for starting to put that plan together and looking at what you can do. The other thing is I am offering free 30-minute coaching sessions at the minute, which you can find on the Facebook page or on our website. If you want to book one of those, it would be great to see you and talk more in person with you. My mission during this time is to help as many business owners to succeed, both personally, so they come out of this in a really strong place from a mindset point of view, but also that we come out in a positive place in terms of the business and what you're going to be able to do once you resume trading, or having traded through this period, how you're going to grow your business and drive it forward. So let me know what's helped you with this video. I'm hoping some of the tips in there are going to be great for you. Leave us a comment to let us know. And other than that, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the sunshine, everybody.